First of all, Florida, Philip, always a swing state. Tell us a bit more then about the two races that are contested there.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of them has actually already been conceded and was conceded on election night by Andrew Gillum. He was candidate on the Democratic side for the position of governor of Florida. He might regret that decision because what you need in the race for governor for a recount to essentially automatically happen is a margin of error of 0.5% or lower, which right now appears to be the case, with still some ballots still to be counted, and that's of course crucial here. Though the the candidate for governor, we should say, on the Republican side, Ron DeSantis, says he won. The race was conceded by his opponent. He says he should be the governor of the state of Florida. So that's one race possibly heading for a recount. That is not yet decided. The other race is the one for Senate, also a very, very expensive race in these midterm elections. And this one, the candidate on the Democratic side, the actual incumbent, Democrat Bill Nelson, has not yet conceded and definitely wants a recount. He's up against Rick Scott. He is the governor of Florida, really wants this seat in the U.S. Senate. And what we have here is now something not just with implications in the state of Florida. This has national implications at the very latest since today, when the U.S. president got involved via Twitter, actually saying that there was voter fraud in that one county where there are still a lot of votes to be counted. In fact, in the governor race and in the Senate case, that's Broward County, which, by the way, has quite a role to play historically. You might remember that in the year 2000, we were all looking toward Florida for a rather long time because there was a recount there as well in the presidential election between George W. Bush and Al Gore at the time.
Philip, what about Georgia then? Accusations being made by the Democrats. Tell us a bit more about what those accusations are.
Well, that's first of all also a race that is too close to call, according to the Democrat. That's Stacey Abrams. She believes that with the votes that are still outstanding, she can also get to within that margin that she needs for a recount to happen. Now, that margin is different. That means that there would have to be not a single candidate with over 50% of the vote. The Republican candidate for governor in the state of Georgia currently has 50.3%, but with still quite a few votes still to be counted. He says he is the governor-elect. This is Brian Kemp. He has very much announced that he has won this election, but his opponent has not conceded yet. In other words, this is most likely going to a recount as well. Now, the allegations, the serious allegations of voter suppression from the Democrats and from the candidate for governor, Stacey Abrams, now they stem from even before this election even happened and from election day itself. They say that it was very difficult, first of all, in person to vote in this election because there weren't enough voting machines in a lot of predominantly African-American areas of the state of Georgia. And before the election, Democrats also say, and they would be right, that a lot of voters were not registered to vote, had actually their registration taken away because, for example, their signature might not have matched a previous signature, or some part of some form of identification didn't match the one they were using just before Election Day. All of these are some very, very serious allegations. Democrats say this is voter suppression. I was with the chairman of the Democratic Party yesterday, and he says this race is not over, and he wants every single vote to be counted. In other words, this midterm election in the United States that was supposed to last just the one day, well, in some areas, Georgia and Florida, could last another month or so.